What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Real Build. I'm your host, Bill Reiman, your broker builder. And today I got a very special guest here, a good friend of mine, man. I'm glad I finally got you in here, and we got a lot to talk about with you.
I know, so happy to be here, Bill. This is just great. I know every day, right?
Yeah.
We're out on the golf course or wherever we are. This is the real chats that we always have. So I'm glad we're in an awesome studio here, by the way.
Thanks, Santiago Mari. Excited to have you on, brother. We're going to talk about all your businesses, but before we get started, you guys know the routine: like, share, comment, subscribe. Go check out all past YouTube episodes, and all podcast episodes are up. You can go listen to those on any podcast platform. With that being said, Jay, let's kick it off. The Real Build is about building better culture, leaders, visionaries, community to better serve the client. I'm your host, Bill Reiman, your broker builder, and I'm here to showcase real business owners building companies with integrity, trust, and a commitment to making a positive impact. Join us as we explore their stories, insights, and strategies for success. With that being said, welcome to The Real Build. So you run a lot of businesses, and I'm actually going to go through all of them real quick. So we got Leadbetter Golf Academy, Leadbetter Swing Aids, Signature Golf Products, soon to be coming up, Hook and Slice.
Yeah, soon to be coming up.
And nobody knows about that one yet. Cover14, which we're going to be doing a lot of projects together with Cover14. We're going to hit on that one. And then T9 Sports. So obviously entrepreneur background, man. I think that's why you and I have become such good friends too. I think we relate a lot in a lot of those aspects. I don't think our brains stop moving ever. But like, you and I have gotten to know each other obviously through golf. We got introduced by Christian Galt, and then the rest was history. You've been teaching me how to swing a golf club correctly for a while now.
Yeah, see, 'cause, that's all it is, right? If you want to go out there, you got to enjoy it, and to enjoy it, at least you got to be halfway decent. And like you said, man, I want to get out there more, with friends and clients, and be able to go and represent what you do, and it's always good. It gives you that confidence feel when you know that you can step on the tee and just crush that drive. And that's nothing, no better feeling than just go out there and just perform, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it was good that, right now you're at that spot, man. Right now, you look, your stream song, Tiburon, you're going
two in a row. Yeah, my wife's gonna kill me.
On the golf tour, man. Right now, you're playing cooler courses, and that's to say, golf opens a lot of doors. And I think for me, it has been a massive booster on everything we've done. Everything, all the connections, all the people that we have grown close to, and kind of call it into our friends network are extremely influential, and a lot of them, we have one big common factor is, we all love golf, but at the same time we all have, like you said, we have that mind that we are looking at opportunities, and we're looking, okay, this is something that we can collaborate, or this is something that we can grow, and it just creates a really cool synergy. And then, of course, where do we discuss it all? In the golf course, right? That's the number one rule. You talk business on the golf course, and golf in the business. So that's, I think, it's been a great tie even for us, right? We go out there in the morning and play 9 holes, and I think the last thing we talk about is golf. It's about all these new ideas, and like I said, our minds just run, and we like to run with it.
No, I agree with you, man. I think since I've gotten to know you too, and that's why, exactly what you said. It's like every time we're together, we're talking about ideas, business. We just sat before the show for 30 minutes talking about.
We already had a show already.
That was a show within a show. Exactly, talking about ideas, things that we could be doing coming up, and that's what I really enjoy, and that like-mindedness too. I want to go into you a little bit, and your background. How'd you get into golf? Obviously you have all these businesses now too, and then we'll get into Cover14, which is a huge business. We're going to be working together on a few of my projects too coming up, because we got a lot of pergolas and stuff coming up here. Right. But let's talk about you, your background, how you got into golf, and then started training and doing all that?
Your golf is one of those things. Is my dad and I, we started playing. I guess I probably was about 13, and we started playing together. And it was one of those things that was our thing. Like my sisters never really got into it. It was just that was like, okay, our excuse to get out of the house. Let's go play golf. And it didn't matter what happened. We could be having a big family gathering and say, okay, we're gonna go play golf for 2 hours. We'll be back. And it was always like a great bonding. So for me, golf always held that special, like a special place in my heart. And it was like still to date, it's like the coolest time I spend with my dad is we go play golf. I don't even have to have a good game because when we go play together, I probably don't have good games. I don't know what it is. I probably switch into a different type of gear that is more like, kind of hanging out with my dad. But it's just awesome that we go out there, and doesn't matter, when the time for me to take those 2-3 hours and let's just drive to the golf course. Even, that's our routine. We start by taking the drive out there, half an hour, just kind of talking smack or whatever, and then, playing. And so that was always like a special, and I don't know why I always decided, this is, it's too good for me. So whatever I've done, doesn't matter what company, business, or I always try to set up something on a golf course. Like even right now, my office is in a golf course. I like to grab the golf cart, take my coffee, take a phone call, and just drive around a couple holes while I do some work. So it started, very young. From there, I wanted to play professional, and so I moved from the University of Puerto Rico to the University of Central Florida. As I was trying to kind of play, you get injuries, you get everything. I kind of started realizing I liked the back end of it more than the front end. So I didn't like to be the guy out there, trying to 8 hours a day hitting balls and training. But I was lucky enough to meet David Leadbetter very early, and from there we kind of like I ended up going to work with him in his big academy up in when he moved from Lake Nona to Champions Cape. But they talk about a long time ago. Right? We're talking about right around 2000. So I went there with them, and I was working a lot on the equipment side of things. So I got into spending like time with golf royalty, right? I mean, David Leadbetter is like the biggest name there is in golf. And then, we talk about a day when we look at our schedule. Okay, well, today we're looking at Michelle Wee, we're looking at Greg Norman, Ernie Els. The list of players that we were spending time with was like impressive, right? So, well, this is really where I want to be. I want to be, working always in golf. So we started doing a lot of like consulting, a lot of projects, the development of new concept and designs in the training aid space too. So David always had this crazy ideas on how to make things better. So I was the guy who said, well, okay, let's make it, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that it was always good, like we talk about, right? Even with David, we had the same kind of like connection. It was never like, oh no, that's not possible. I said, well, let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. And the answer that we always came up with, still to date, right? I mean, still yesterday, we're talking about a new idea, and we're like, well, let's figure out how to do it, right? And kind of having that attitude, I think, is what opens up your mind and opens up everything to the yes we can type of mentality. Yeah, if you dream it, we can build it, right? And for you, it's the same, right? I mean, that's what I think. When you were telling me about that last project, I mean, it's such a massive project, and it was like, that idea I can make.
Yeah.
And we do the same in golf. So it kind of evolved, from there, into a lot of consulting. A lot of new companies will come in, and I want to get this product into market. So we would take that idea and say, okay, well, let's start at the piece of paper. Let's draw it up. Let's produce it. Let's manufacture it. Let's create a come to market strategy. And from there on, let's make your company a reality. So we did that quite a bit. And that was from my consulting side. So if you think about it, so many different aspects of it. So it switched from playing golf to coaching golf to working with the best players, and then from there, that's kind of consulting the best players, to then consulting the companies to then actually creating the companies and creating the product, right? So it just kept going in all the steps, and it's almost like every time you took a little feel of how the air up here feels. All right, this is where I want to stay, and then from there you just kept climbing up and up, and you went from being the one consultant to just actually developing the company and just creating, making it a reality. So it was pretty interesting. I say how it all happened in the golf space. If you think about how all that kind of kept progressing, well, then it progressed. Let's say Cover14, for example.
Yeah.
It happened the same way. It's like, well, we're out there on the range. Say, man, there's a problem here because this sun is killing me. How can we make this actually pleasant? And they've been a lot of companies that have tried, doing like little tarps and things like that. And we always found like, it was just not practical for us being out there all the time. And that's where I met my business partner at Cover14. And he presented an idea. Said, well, look, we have this product that is a thermally insulated product. It's hurricane grade, it's hurricane resistant. I'm like, okay, hold on. If you have a product that can do that, this is my application, right? So we kind of started with a little mock-up, right? So with this mock-up, I think we can actually build this into something bigger, right? And then from there, we started from the idea, we created the concept, and we created the first unit, which I think you've seen pictures of it, right? With us hitting balls underneath this unit. And the proof of concept was so good that we decided to, let's create a company around it. And we did. That's where Cover14 was born. About almost 2 years ago, and from there, we focus a lot on the commercial side, on the clubhouses, and kind of like building the beautiful spaces, right? But that are functional. So taking an area in a restaurant that is it's nice, it looks great, but people don't want to sit in it because it's not comfortable. So we can actually kind of give it a little bit of comfort and functionality, right? So, and that keeps evolving like everything, right? And that works. So what's next? And that's where, right now we're at Cover14, where we do like, the way that we did it with your big project, you gave us a design. So this is what we take your vision and we go through the engineering of it and the functionality, and we combine your design, your architecture with our product, and we end up with a finished idea, which I think it worked out great.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a bunch of I skipped a bunch of stuff there, but I think we made it through.
That was.
I know it's just a lot.
No, that was good, man.
It kind of gives a little bit of the, kind of like it started from changing a grip.
Yeah.
To as simple as changing a grip to then I want to design the grip. No, now I want to make the grip. Now I want to own the grip.
Yeah.
So you just keep moving through it, and that's kind of how everything kind of just keeps evolving, right? Like you just move through the stages until you get to where you feel like this is where I need to be.
Well, it's like in the stage you're at now, too, with like Corkscrew, we were talking about it earlier, like Corkscrew's closing now. It's finding that next move, right? And I think in that next transition, something bigger is going to happen. Yeah. Because just listen to your story, right? Your story was like, boom, boom, and it's just a climb up from this to that. And now it's like, all right, now where do I go? And here we are, we're talking about building, doing stuff, like you and I always had, like, we're talking ideas, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Correct.
Like, and going back into that, it's like that large project we have now, you and I have talked about this, like, if I didn't say yes, like, where would we be? We'd be where we are. Yeah. Like, we had to take that leap to kind of, and I have learned so much on that job, just so much on that job alone, on waterproofing, roof drains, like all these different concrete elements of concrete. I mean, that thing has 5 million pounds of concrete in that house.
That's incredible.
And it's just like, and I forget the amount of trucks that went into it. It's a lot of trucks, but just learning from those experience, and now going to the next thing. And you and I are talking like commercial stuff like that. And like, there's so many good ideas, but like, we don't just think about it, we do, right? Correct. And we talk about it. And I think that's the next thing with you, like, in going into Cover14, like, the pergola sided thing, it's becoming a lot more popular in what I do,
Yes.
just because people are really wanting these big top scale outdoor spaces. And just so the listener knows what you're doing, I mean, you're doing these customized structure pergolas that are, they can withstand hurricanes. The tops of them can be closed. They can, open. They can have slide openings. There's a bunch into it. So talk about that.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's a functionality part. I mean, there's a lot of I think we've been seeing similar product for a while, and you get to see always the flaws, right? And where the designer didn't really think the whole thing through. And I just visited a restaurant just recently that they installed this type of structure on their sitting area, and now all they have is the frame and some tarps around it because the whole system just didn't work or it broke as well. That's kind of what we're talking about, right? Like there's shortcuts, but there's also things that are done correctly, right?
Yeah.
Like one of our best examples is our motorized louvered system, right? Our system actually shuts down completely into a flat ceiling without any gaps, right? So what does that mean? When it rains, the water just kind of passes through the internal gutter system, and it just kind of leaks out, so you have no issues. I visited a location a few weeks ago where they did a system that looked kind of nice. It had a couple exposed bolts, whatever. You cannot get into all the little details, but the functionality of it was that when the louvered system closed, it had a gap on all the sides. So what happened was, what he was telling me, well, if we cannot open it, because every time they opened it, then everything that was in that gutter would fall inside. So that's a bad design for my opinion. So well, that's not a good design then, because that should not happen, right? If you close it and open it, it should be completely seamless. And that's where we feel like we're kind of like at that point that the product that we work with and the designs that we work with are like, they have really thought it through. Every possible issue has been addressed, right? It's like the 10th generation, right? The first model of every car, it's going to have some kinks, right?
Yeah.
That's where the updates come in, and that's why we found, except for that as an example. So you can, when you're looking at something like this, there is the aesthetics, extremely important. I mean, for me, that's got to be number one and number two, but also the functionality has got to be also number one and number two. You cannot sacrifice one for the other, right? Functionality with that looks ugly, but at the same time, if it looks great but it's not functional, it's also useless, right? So that's kind of like where you got to look at, and that's what we do for us. It has to look great, it has to work great, and it also has to have the structure durability that you don't have to worry about it. Because if it looks great for 6 months, but what happens in year 3, right? Year 4. So our product, you can go 10, 15 years with knowing that there's not going to be a single issue, no fading. None of the items are going to break or collapse. Because imagine that expense. You build your nice sitting area, and now you had to say, all right, Bill, can you come in and tie some tarps on top because the roof collapsed? I said, well,
or can you come back and paint this thing?
Can you come back and paint it? Or the wind hit it and now it's bent. And those are all the things that happen. Like, for example, we use MagnaTrack, which we talked about, the retractable screens that we put inside our structures. Well, the MagnaTrack did an unbelievable design where it actually keeps it, it holds the tension versus, the ones that are kind of like the stock ones that they kind of bevel a little bit on the inside. So little things like that, right? Like the devil's on the detail, right? So that's one of the things that we feel like we're very very good at, is that whenever we're working together, we're gonna go through every possible detail, and as we are building, if something needs to be adjusted or edited, we will not just, okay, well, better luck next time, right? No, we'll make sure that everything looks great. I mean, and that's where where I think the success will come in, is it's in the finished product.
We're a lot of the same, and I think that's why it's going to be a great, obviously, working relationship with Cover14 and RK Reiman too, because we're so detailed too. One thing that stood out And I do the exact same thing that you said, is like you see the flaws in other structures. I'm the same way. Like if I'm in a house, I'm looking at stuff. I'm like, if it's a new construction house that we didn't build, I'm always looking around. I'm like in my mind judging things, and obviously not saying it to the homeowner, that's there if it's but it's like I'm always looking at like how things could be done better. And, it's just same as you, like with our team, we're always talking about like, how can we do this better? How can we apply this better? How can we make sure the drywall's straight by buying lasers that hold it up?
Look,
and
you
stuff.
Mentioned, you had a post, I think it was, or something I heard you say in one of your, I think it was a podcast. It was probably a week ago that you mentioned, that you guys are really good at fixing the things that nobody will notice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so powerful, because I feel exactly the same. It's, if, I don't want you to come to me with a problem. I know that if there was something, it's going to be taken care of, and nobody will ever, like that we avoid problems. And the same thing in the design part, on the engineering part, you will not know that this is made this way because of that, right? But it's okay. That's what the engineer is for, right? So you create the things that are actually there that you will never notice as a client, but that's the reason why your structure is so good, right? It's in the detail, right? In the detail and the planning. And I thought that was a pretty good statement that you made. And I like, if it was a post, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was one of the past podcasts, because I mean, it's true, man. We like if we just do it right the first time, like then you're not going to have to, even if. We've had instances where, I've had to teach my superintendents this, that, even if it was behind something, like, we had one where there's a fireplace going in, and I always remember this because the water valve that was behind was crooked, and it was driving me nuts. And I told my superintendent, I was like, we got to straighten that out. He goes, well, the fireplace is going there. Like, nobody's ever going to see it. I was like, well, what if somebody buys the house later on and pulls the fireplace out? Then they're going to see it. And he goes, well, that's not going to I go, it might happen. You never know. I go, just fix it and make it right. So it's like those learning things. Like now, another thing is like I'm buying a laser for the drywall, because I want to make sure everything is exactly straight. You hold this thing up, it'll tell you on it too how straight, if the drywall is straight, if the base is plumb, like we want perfection. These are the things we got to start doing to hold our trades accountable too. And we always talk about accountabilities in the Reiman standard, right? Yeah. And that's part of our standard, is like we go more above and beyond than our competition, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good, and I feel like we are in the same boat there. I mean, we believe that we can definitely fix things or make things in a way that they're just perfect, and you won't, you don't even need to worry about it, right? I mean, or say, how many times I found funny, I was mounting a TV in an office that we just got an office a year ago, and the wall looked pretty straight. Like, it was funny what you think about when you were talking about the laser. As soon as you put the TV bracket, it looked like an S. I said, well, there you go. Right? I mean, there's a good job here.
That's the hidden thing. I mean, you do it though too. Like even with the things you create for golf too. Like you've given me. I mean, even the glove you gave me, you're like, I'm gonna get this is a smaller glove. I want you to make it rip. Yeah. You're like, I want to see if it'll rip.
That's right. That was the best test. I mean, you probably were.
It lasted a while.
Like a large glove. I said, well, try to fit into this medium and see if it works. So, see, that's to say, we're testing the product and the material to an extreme. Yeah. And also coming up with a solution. So when we do like product testing, that's all it is, right? If your client has to be coming to you and raising flags with what are the flaws of your system, that means you didn't do enough testing. Yeah. Or, you kind of like skip some steps. And if, going back to the louvered system, right? If my client comes to me and tells me, look, every time I open the louvered, the leaves fall down. Well, I say, well, I probably did not tested that system enough. Yeah. So that's where we got to the system that actually closes completely and closes flat, versus the systems that have like this little gap and it falls like indented like this. I mean, that's like, it's crazy. And for the amount of money that, because just because you have a good system doesn't mean that all of a sudden your price jacks up. No, it's just it is priced correctly, right? So when you see these systems with the flaws, they cost the same as a system that is well done, right? Same as when you look at. So I know this has been visiting so many sites. I just got the pictures on my head. I mean, I was looking at this one was nice, very, very, very pretty white pergola structure, but their design had stainless steel bolts on the outside. And I think I showed you a picture that I said, Bill, this is why we're not going to use this material, because look what happened, right? So you see the little rust line, just trickling all the way down. And then I showed you a picture. Well, look at ours, right? There, you don't see a single bolt in this unit because everything is integrated, right? And that makes such a difference when everything is just a straight line versus you start getting there, and then whenever the guy was putting the bolt, he scratched it a little bit. No, we don't need to worry about any of that. So that's where you get into like proper design and functionality, right?
Yeah.
The functionality of it too, from an installation perspective. And internal gutters make a huge difference for that as well, because everything just kind of goes through on the inside, and then you don't have to see. I did see one that they attach a gutter on the outside, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I said, "Well, good that we're not nowhere near that one, because that one was." And this was in a very fancy restaurant, man, in Mercado,
really?
and I saw it. I was like, "How do you put a gutter on the outside? You should just do an integrated gutter system, which for us, it's one of the systems that I like the best.
We just clean.
Everything's clean. I mean, things for what you're trying to present and what you're trying to give to your client or your home, right? If you're doing it for like your home there, for example, you don't want to see stuff kind of laying around. I also don't want to see puddles.
Yeah.
So things just have to be, there has to be a concept to it. There has to be a purpose. And if there's a purpose, then you can actually, find a solution and achieve it. Like one thing I told you when we were playing, I said, if you're going to hit the shot, have a reason to hit it, right? Don't just go out there and just whack shots away. Because they have a purpose. Hit less shots, but make them count, right? Make every shot count. And same thing with every design. It's like a way of living, right? Everything you do must have a purpose, right? And then I think you can achieve more for sure.
Yeah, I want to wrap this up with you. I mean, the time flew by here. I want to wrap it up with like the simulator side of things that you can do too, because I think that's becoming. I mean, with Cover14, that's popular now with the pergola. Now, I mean, you also can do indoor simulators, all that kind of stuff too. I think it's becoming more and more popular in a high-end home to where you can.
Well, it's actually becoming more accessible as well. I mean, we have, I say when we build, at Cover14, if we were to build, let's say, a garage, turn it into, or even an outdoor putting green. I mean, we do, being in the golf space, like all these things, building short game areas, outdoor or indoor.
That is one thing too with Cover14 that you guys should. I mean, I'm sure you do offer, because I'm starting to see them. I know a Canadian company does them as those little. They're like almost like shed type things that they convert into, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is. We have some projects up north that is, that they have to be closed, right? And then you can enclose it. But down here in Florida, I think most people so far, they want those areas to be open. So then when we use more like the screen enclosures, right, just for airflow. But up north, you have to do it for just, when it's really cold, you can still play. I see it here the other way when it's really hot, that you can still play. So I don't mind it being enclosed, like kind of like a man cave in the backyard type of thing. But the beauty is you can combine it all. You do you can turf the area, you can create your space, you can hit balls into the field, or you hit balls into a net. But at the same time, you can also, that's if you want to go on the golf application or the sport. But at the same time, you can do it for a fireplace. You can do it for an outdoor kitchen. In a resident, or even just an awesome sitting area. Right. I mean, awesome. That's what I in my house. It's our dining and our outdoor dining. That's what we did. We built it like that. We did some privacy walls. It looks beautiful, I think. Yeah. And comfortable. Yeah. Because it's Florida. You cannot sit outside. And what I found in my place, at least, the umbrellas were just not cutting it. the heat was still going through under this big, let's say 12 by 12 umbrellas. The heat made it through the canvas. So we love the insulated area. Now we have a permanent outdoor dining.
Your outdoor area is nice. You got my wife all when we left there. She's like, "We got to redo ours. We got to do this.
You got to put because that's what we did. We worked out a little like putting green, and then the outdoor dining. So it just makes it easy because the kids can jump in the pool, and then you can actually sit out there comfortable because we turn the fans on, and I think you can make. Let's say here in this area, for example, it's so hot that most people tend to stay inside, but you can make it a very comfortable outdoor area if you make it right. And that's what I feel like we did that at home. So now the kids can jump in the pool and I can just kind of sit there in a rocking chair or just sit there on one of the couches and just kind of hang with them without having to jump in the pool or melt.
Yeah.
Which was before you kind of watch them from from inside. Hey
guys,
hey
in
guys.
The Florida summer. Yeah.
I hope you're good. Screaming through the glass because it was too hot. Now it's like, now it's awesome. Just sit outside and turn the fans on and just say, you guys knock yourself out. I'm kind of relaxing here too. So it's good. You can do anything. I mean, that's the beauty. If you can dream it, then between the two of us, we can build it.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. No, this was great. And I'm glad you came on too. I'm going to have you on again because you and I can talk forever on all these structures and stuff like that too, man. But no, I appreciate you taking the time too. We'll link Cover14 and then the other businesses too.
We can link Cover14, kind of go everything through there. I mean, there you get our direct contact, and then from there we can kind of like move through everything. Really, I mean, it's just awesome. So we'll throw everything out there, see what sticks.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you doing this today.
You, man. This was awesome.
And you guys listening, thank you guys too. You guys know the routine: like, share, subscribe. YouTube, go and subscribe. A lot of you guys are watching, but you're not subscribing and following the channel, so go do that, and we will see you guys on the next episode. The Real Build is about building better culture, leaders, visionaries, community to better serve the client. I'm your host, Bill Reiman, your broker builder, and I'm here to showcase real business owners building companies with integrity, trust, and a commitment to making a positive impact. Join us as we explore their stories, insights, and strategies for success. With that being said, welcome to The Real Build.